Among the questions coming in verbal aptitude tests, critical reasoning is a relatively difficult category to tackle. The number of critical reasoning questions in aptitude tests has been increasing over the last few years. Let us first understand what critical reasoning is. Critical reasoning is the ability to think through things to come up with a judicious evaluation of circumstances. It is the power of the mind to understand and form opinions about persons, things, or ideas, free from preoccupied notions or prejudices. So it is an act of deducing a hidden fact by utilizing the given information. Critical thinking teaches us to form opinions on the basis of evidences and arguments. It demands a sharp mind, clear thinking, and right judgment. While doing these questions, one has to examine the pros and cons of the topic discussed in the passage. Let us first understand the nature of a critical reasoning question. In a typical critical reasoning question, there will be a paragraph followed by a single question with 4 or 5 answer options. We have to select the most appropriate option. The purpose of this question is to test our logical thinking and power of reasoning. In order to get the right answer, we must deduce. That is, we must carefully examine the given information in the passage and must go beyond it. In other words, we have to read between the lines. We should use our skill to infer. When we infer, we learn the unknown through the known facts. A person with a critical eye can look at things and find out its virtues and vices. She has the ability to bifurcate what is right and what is wrong, what is relevant and what is not. The passage for critical reasoning question presents an argument. An argument is a string of connected statements. The questions are based on the argument presented in the passage. So first of all, we must understand the argument very well. An argument has 2 parts: conclusion and premises. Conclusion is the main claim put forward in the passage by the author. Premises are the facts that support the conclusion. Usually a sentence that indicates conclusion comes in the beginning or end of the passage. Well, how can we identify the conclusion sentence? If we find words like therefore, thus, so, hence, as a result, implies, shows, establishes, etc. in a sentence, we can make sure that it is a conclusion. Like that, premises can be identified from words like since, because, for, it follows from, as is indicated by, etc. After analyzing the conclusion and premises in the passage, read the question and understand what is required to be answered. This is very important because questions can be subtle, misleading, and ambiguous. Once we understand the question, review the argument stated in the passage logically and rationally. We will definitely be able to find out the right answer. Now let us examine some examples and understand the methodology in approaching critical reasoning questions. Refer the example E1. There we are given a paragraph followed by a question, and we need to select the most appropriate answer from among the 5 choices given. Let us read the passage first. There is a science called semantics in Greek, which means the meaning of words. There is a whole science being developed now because words have meaning. So words affect you mentally as well as physically, and it is very important to understand them and not to be affected by them. The moment the word communism is used, a capitalist goes into a shiver about it. Similarly, a man who has property is scared of the word revolution. Well, what do we make of it? It is all about semantics or meaning of words. Now, what is a question to be answered? The question asks us to select a statement that weakens the conclusion of the passage. So, first of all, we have to find out the conclusion of the passage. Earlier, we discussed some words that indicate a conclusion. One such word is so. We can see the word so in the beginning of the third sentence in the passage. Hence, third sentence is a conclusion. The conclusion is, words can affect a person. Now go through the options. Which one can weaken the conclusion? According to first answer option, words are misinterpreted, which is true, but it does not weaken the conclusion. Statement 2 says that people are afraid of words' impact on us. Actually, this strengthens the conclusion. The fourth statement, which tells us about the symbolic nature of words, also, in a way, strengthens the conclusion. Fifth statement is not true. Not all people take the meaning of words according to their whims and fancies. We can see that the statement 3, words seldom have any emotional impact on us, is the right answer. If words do not have any emotional impact on people, how can they affect you mentally and physically? So the third statement is the one which weakens the conclusion of the passage. Look at the second example. Here we are asked to identify the statement that can be inferred from the passage. The passage talks about the changing capabilities of Kashmiri people. Let us read the text once again. The changing capabilities of the Kashmiri people affect their relationship with Pakistan. There may have been a time soon after 1947 when the Kashmiris viewed their choice as between going with India and joining Pakistan. But as the capabilities of the Kashmiri people have grown, so has their self-confidence. Now look at the question. The question demands us to infer. When we infer, we go beyond the mere fact stated and give or make a suggestion involving the truth of something not definitely stated. In other words, answer to an inference question will not be stated directly or indirectly in the passage. It must be a logical development of the information provided in the passage. What does the passage say? When the capabilities of the Kashmiris grow, their self-confidence boosts up. This in turn affects their relationship with others. Statement 1 of the answer choices is indirectly mentioned in the passage, so we need not infer it. Statement 2 is wrong. Some Kashmiris might have wanted to join with India in 1947, but not all Kashmiri people. Statement 3 cannot be inferred from the passage. No clue is given in their regard. Likewise, Statement 5 is also a wild guess. Inference is different from wild guess. Inference will be supported by some clues in the passage. The right answer is Statement 4. Kashmiri people may prefer autonomy. Why? Because they have understood their growing capabilities, which have increased their self-confidence. Now they are not a confused lot as they were in 1947. So they need not depend on either India or Pakistan. Their self-confidence may prompt them to opt for an autonomous or independent province for them. Now refer example 3. Quite interesting, isn't it? The unique psychology of a woman is revealed through the story. Let us carefully read through the passage once again. A man was very much in love with a young actress without any success. One day, she rang him up. Would he take her to the country for the weekend? He did, and his surprise and joy reached a climax when he discovered that he was the first man in her life. All went well, and on Monday morning, when they prepared to go back to town, she gave him an explanation for this adventure. I am engaged to be married to a man who I suppose is your greatest friend. I know that women can sometimes never forgive a man for any mistake on the first occasion, and I asked your help in order to protect my fiancé from this risk. The question to be answered is which of the statements is true according to the passage of the story? Look at the answer option shown in the slide. Statement 1 says that the actress was in love with a man. This is false. She was already engaged and she used him for a selfish purpose. The man did not know that the actress was a virgin. This is why he was surprised when he found out that he was the first man in her life. So statement 3 is also false. Statement 4, the man could not satisfy the actress, is incorrect because the expression all went well in the beginning of the fourth sentence suggests that they had a contented sexual experience. Fifth statement also cannot be right because the actress in the story is not the embodiment of womanhood. Not all women act like her. She represents the stranger, not general nature of woman. Hence the correct answer is statement 2. The actress definitely wanted a faultless marital life. She was anxious about her first love-making. She feared that if the first occasion is a disaster, it would badly affect the relationship with the husband throughout the marital life. She did not want this to happen. So her affair with the man was a dress rehearsal before the real act to prevent a possible error in love-making. This is very evident from her words. She wishes that her problems in sexual life do not prevent her from leading a blissful marital life. First impression is the best impression. Whatever we do for the first time in our life will have a long-lasting impression in our character and life. Interestingly, here the actress gives more importance to her family life than her virginity. Read the short passage given in the slide. We are asked to find the statement that best supports the passage. Does the first statement support the passage? Not at all. The passage does not say anything about fate. Do not get carried away by the word fait accompli. It has nothing to do with fate. Fait accompli means a thing that has been done and is past arguing against or altering. Statement 2 is incorrect because there are many people who fight against corruption. Statement 3 is correct, but that is not what the passage says. Statement 4 is also wrong because most of the people consider corruption as a negative thing. The passage tells us about the helplessness of the people who are forced to accept corruption. The expression fait accompli means a thing accomplished and irreversible. According to the passage, corruption is a fait accompli. Hence, a statement that best supports the passage is option 5. Now refer the example E5. The passage describes the ironical situation of mammoth defense spending when majority of the people are below the poverty line. The question asks us to select the option which could lead to a change in this ironical situation. From the passage, we can infer that the bilateral relationship between India and her neighboring countries is not a cordial one. That is why India has to spend a large amount to protect her borders. In this circumstance, options 1 and 2 are not possible. That is, India can neither cut defense expenditure nor withdraw troops from the borders. So there is no question of saving money that is invested for defense. Hence, option 3 is also not the right answer. Option 5 advocates for a revolution which is in no way related to the passage. Hence, option 4 is the right answer. That is the only possible way to change this ironical situation. Once the relationship with the neighboring countries become cordial, the unwanted defense expenses can be cut down and that money can be used for poverty alleviation purposes. Read the passage given in the slide. When you read the passage, I hope you would have paid attention to the argument made in the first sentence of the passage. It states that climate change may be global, but only people in some parts of the world will face its woes severely. Options 1 and 4 tell us about the ill effects of global warming. Same idea is expressed in two different statements. They do not jeopardize the argument. Jeopardize means put in danger or weaken or criticize. Option 2 suggests one of the reasons for climate changes. Option 3 says that the ill effects of global warming will be experienced by poor people. None of these statements jeopardize the argument. When we look at option 5, we can see that it jeopardizes the argument made in the first sentence. If the findings of the analysis are not true, the argument will be a wrong one. Well, before concluding, let me remind you the questions based on critical reasoning demand our absolute attention. First, we should study the factual details in the passage. This would enable us to understand the situations mentioned in the passage. Then identify the two parts of the argument put forward in the passage, namely the conclusion and the premises or facts that support the conclusion. After that, study the questions carefully. Infer by reading between the lines. Finally, use our logical sense and rational thinking to deduce the right answer. You need to have good practice to reach a level where you can do critical reasoning questions with ease. All the best. Thank you.